I died choking on my own blood in a rain-slicked alley behind that godforsaken Palo Alto dive bar. The taste of betrayal as metallic as the knife in my gut. My best friend, hell, my lover, had sold me out for a corner office and a fat bonus, framing me for embezzlement that tanked my career and left me penniless, paranoid, and popping pills like candy. But the real kicker? As the life drained out of me from that random mugging she arranged, I saw her face in the shadows, smirking like she'd just closed the deal of the century. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until the fluorescent buzz of the lobby hit me like a freight train, and I blinked awake in my own body, 32 again, heart pounding, staring at the security desk where my badge had just gone dead with a pathetic beep. It was the day it all went to hell. The day before the frame job. The lies. The spiral. But this time, I wasn't going down without dragging every last one of those backstabbing pricks into the fire with me. I stood there frozen for a split second, the lobby of Apex Innovations swirling around me like a bad acid trip. Marble floors gleamed under the weight of overpaid tech bros hustling to their next pitch meeting. The air thick with the scent of overbrewed coffee and desperation. My reflection stared back from the glass elevator doors. Quinn Harper, Senior Product Manager, looking every bit the wide-eyed climber I'd been 6 months ago in this timeline. Except now, I carried the ghosts of a lifetime's worth of regrets crammed into one extra death. MS. Harper. The security guard's voice snapped me out of it. Raoul. Poor bastard. He'd be the one who'd have to escort me out in a few hours when the shit hit the fan. His badge gleamed under the lights, a symbol of the fragile trust this place peddled like stock options. Your access just glitched. Corporates got it flagged for review. Glitched. Right. In my first go-round, it was the opening salvo in Elena's war on me. My bestie, the VP of operations who'd been gunning for my role since the day I outshone her in that demo to the board. She'd hacked the system, nothing fancy, just a backdoor through IT's lazy firewall, and disable my badge to make it look like I'd been skimming access logs for insider trading. By noon, HR had me in a conference room, and by evening, I was blacklisted from every VC firm in the Valley. But not today. Today, I knew the playbook. I knew her tells, the way she'd twirl that cheap silver ring when she lied. The fake concern in her voice, like syrup over razor blades. And I knew the secrets she'd buried deeper than her conscience. The affair with the CFO that funded her MBA. The fudged expense reports that lined her offshore account. The whistleblower docs she'd shredded to cover a product recall that killed 3 users in beta testing. I forced a smile. The kind that said, just another glitch in the matrix, and leaned over the desk. Raoul. Buddy. You know me, always pushing updates too hard. Let me borrow yours for a sec? I left my lucky pen upstairs. He hesitated, eyes flicking to the cameras. But I'd bought him those Lakers tickets last Christmas. Trust was a currency here, and I'd been minting it for years. He slid the badge over with a wink. Don't tell the boss. Quinn. And grab me one of those kale smoothies from the cafeteria while you're up there? You got it. I swiped his card, the elevator dinging open like a portal to Armageddon. As the doors closed, I pulled out my phone, same cracked screen from dropping it during last night's fight with my then-boyfriend, now Elena's pawn, and fired off a quick text to my contact in legal. Not the corporate stooge, the ex-Fed I'd networked with at a cybersecurity conference. Need dirt on EV. ASAP. Usual drop. The ride up to the 22nd floor was a blur of half-remembered faces. There was Jake from engineering, The kid who'd testify against me under duress because Elena promised him a promotion. And Sarah, the intern who'd accidentally leak my emails to the press. By the time the doors parted, my pulse was a war drum, and the open plan office stretched out like a battlefield, whiteboards scrawled with agile sprints, pods of devs hunched over laptops, the hum of ambition masking the rot underneath. I beelined for my desk, ignoring the knot in my stomach. Elena's office was across the floor, glass walls giving her a view of the empire she'd clawed for. In my old life, I knocked on that door with coffee in hand, begging for answers. She'd played the ally, all wide eyes, and I had no idea, while her emails to the board painted me as the thief. This time, I didn't knock. I strode in like I owned the place, dumping the coffee on her desk black. 2 sugars, just how she liked it to fuel her double crosses. Quinn, you're early. She looked up from her monitor, that ring twisting between her fingers. Mid-30s. Blonde bob sharp as her tongue, dressed in the kind of power suit that screamed, I deserve this more than you. Her smile was a weapon, honed on boardrooms and bedrooms. Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind. I perched on the edge of her desk, casual as hell, watching her microflinch. Like that glitch downstairs. Badge's acting up. You hear anything? Her eyes darted to her screen, probably checking the logs she'd planted. Glitch? That's weird. I'll loop in IT. Sit. Let's chat about the pitch deck. You nailed the metrics last quarter. Board's buzzing. Bullshit. The board wasn't buzzing. They were circling. But I played along, pulling up my laptop and mirroring her screen to mine via AirDrop, a trick I'd learned from a black hat tutorial in the psych ward, back when the pills weren't enough. As she droned on about user growth projections, I scanned her recent files. There it was, Harper_review, docs. Time-stamped yesterday. I cracked it open in a hidden window, heart slamming as the words blurred into focus. Quinn's been pushing boundaries, late-night access to financials unapproved. Suggest audit. Loyalty questionable post her personal issues. Code for my breakup, which she'd orchestrated by sleeping with Mark and whispering doubts in his ear. The audit was the trapdoor to the embezzlement frame-up, complete with forged timestamps on dummy transactions. I closed the file, forcing my voice steady. Loyalty. Ha! That's rich coming from you. Remember that recall last year? The one we buried because it would have tanked stock prices? Her face went still, that ring freezing mid-twirl. What are you? The beta crashes. 3 dead, heart monitors glitching on elderly users. You shredded the reports, paid off the families with hush money from the slush fund. I covered for you because you were my friend. The word tasted like ash. But friends don't plant evidence. She laughed, but it cracked at the edges. Quinn, you're spiraling. Too much caffeine? Let's get you to HR. I leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper that cut like glass. Or we could talk about the Cayman account. $5 million siphoned from vendor kickbacks. I have the wire transfers. Timestamped, her color drained, eyes widening like I'd slapped her. In my first life, I'd never dug that deep. Too trusting, too broken. But death had a way of sharpening priorities. You bluffing. Test me. I stood, straightening my blazer. Meeting's over. Fix my badge. Or the board sees everything by lunch. She didn't move as I walked out, but I felt her stare burning holes. The office chatter faded into white noise as I hit the stairwell, pulling up the encrypted app on my phone. My contact's reply pinged. Got her. A fair docs with CFO. Plus recall whistleblower backup. Sending now. Phase 1. Unsettle the bitch. Phase 2. Arm the allies. By the time I hit the cafeteria for Raoul's smoothie, my phone was vibrating with forwards, anonymous tips queued for the right inboxes. The valley ran on information, and I was about to flood the market. But as I handed Raoul his drink, a shadow fell over the counter. Mark, ex-boyfriend. Elena's current lapdog, loomed there. His tech bro beard trimmed too perfect. Eyes narrowed. Quinn, we need to talk. Upstairs. Now. In the old timeline, this was where he'd corner me. Feed me the lies about mutual friends turning on me. Where I'd crumble, sign the NDA, and walk away with nothing. But today, I met his gaze, the smoothie straw snapping in my grip. Not today, Mark. Not ever. His confusion was delicious. A crack in the facade. As I brushed past, I whispered, "Tell Elena the game's changed." The stairwell door slammed behind me, echoing like a gunshot. Little did I know, the real explosion was just warming up. The rest of the morning blurred into a high-wire act of feigned normalcy. Every email, a potential landmine. Every colleague's glance, a sniper's scope. I holed up in a breakout room. Neutral territory. No cameras, and pored over the docs for my contact. Elena's digital trail was a house of cards, emails to offshore brokers. Deleted but recoverable from server backups. Audio clips of her berating the recall victims' families. Voice modulator stripped away by forensic software. It wasn't just greed. It was malice. The kind that festered in boardrooms where human lives were reduced to churn rates. By 11 a.m., I'd seeded the poison. Anonymous drops to 3 board members, the old-school VC guy who'd always hated Elena's flash, the ethics committee chair nursing a grudge from a past over-promotion, and the wild card, Harlan Voss, the chairman himself. Voss was a relic. Silver fox in his 60s, built Apex from a garage startup into a billion-dollar beast on sheer ruthlessness. In my first life, he'd signed off on my termination without a blink, too busy golfing with senators to notice the rot. But I'd remembered something from the ashes. Voss had a soft spot for underdogs. Or at least the ones who reminded him of his scrappy days. And I was about to become his favorite stray. Lunch hit like a storm front. The cafeteria was a zoo, tray clatters, laughter masking the cutthroat whispers about who was up for the next round of layoffs. I spotted Jake nursing a soda at a corner table, his laptop open to code that looked suspiciously like my project's fork. Kid was green, barely 25, with dreams bigger than his ethics. In the old timeline, Elena had him wrapped around her finger, promising stock grants for his loyalty. I slid into the seat across from him, tray balanced with the precision of a bomb tech. Jake. That neural net sim, looking good. But you're bottlenecking on the edge compute. Try vectorizing the tensor ops. He blinked, fork pausing midair. Thanks. Quinn. How'd you? Saw your commit history. Impressive. I leaned in, voice low. But if you're tweaking my baseline model without crediting, that's gonna bite you when audit rolls around. His face went puppy dog guilty. It's not, Elena said it was collaborative. Team effort. Team effort. The Valley's favorite euphemism for theft. Elena says a lot of things. Like how you're next in line for lead dev if you align on the Harper review. He choked on his sandwich, eyes bugging. She what? No. That's not. Relax. I'm not ratting. I pulled up a shared drive on my phone, dropping the recall files into a folder only he could access. But this is what real alignment looks like. The truth about why we lost those beta users. Bury it if you want. But if it leaks, and it will, better to be on the side handing out shovels. Not holding the body. He stared at the screen, color draining as the audio played. Elena's voice, cold as a server rack, haggling payouts like they were overpriced lattes. Holy shit.
Quinn.
This is explosive. Detonate wisely. I stood, leaving him to marinate. One pawn flipped. Elena's board was thinning. Afternoon brought the first ripples. My inbox pinged with a calendar invite, ad hoc review, product integrity. Attendees, Voss. Elena, CFO. Legal. 3 p.m. Boardroom. No agenda attached, classic Voss move, keeping him guessing. I spent the interim fortifying. A quick hop to the server room, Raoul's badge still hot in my pocket. Let me mirror Elena's hard drive to a thumb drive. Paranoia? Hell yes. In my death spiral, I'd learned the hard way. Backups save lives. Not just data. The boardroom was a pressure cooker when I walked in. All glass and ego. Voss at the head, nursing a tumbler of scotch despite the hour, his hawkish eyes scanning us like merger targets. Elena to his right, composed but for the telltale ring twirl. CFO, Mark's mentor and her bedfellow, fidgeted with his tie, sweat beading on his bald pate. Legal drone in the corner, laptop primed for damage control. Quinn, Voss drawled, voice like gravel over bourbon.
Sit.
We've got a glitch. Elena shot me a venomous side-eye, but I played dumb, sinking into the leather chair with a nod. Happy to help. Harlan. Badges acting up all over. He chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Something like that. Elena hears flagsome. Irregularities in access logs. Your name popped. She jumped in, smooth as oiled silk. Nothing major. Chairman. Just routine, late-night pulls on financials. With Quinn's recent stresses. Thought we'd loop everyone. Stresses. There it was. The knife twist. My fabricated breakdown, courtesy of her planted psych eval, leaked to my therapist. Voss steepled his fingers, gaze pinning her. Stresses. Like the ones that built this company? Sleepless nights. Corner cutting? Quinn's the one who turned our AI health suite into a unicorn. You saying she's suddenly a liability? Elena's smile faltered. Not at all. Just prudence. The board's sensitive post-SEC sniff. I jumped in before she could pivot. Prudence is good. Like auditing vendor slush funds? Or recalling faulty firmware before it flatlines users. I slid my phone across the table. The audio cued. Hit play. Her voice filled the room. $200K each. Wired clean. Sign the NDA. Or the lawsuits bury us all. The CFO went white as fresh code. Voss's jaw tightened, scotch glass clinking down hard. Elena. Explain. It's doctored. She lunged for the phone, but legal snatched it first, replaying on loop. Quinn's framing me. She's unstable. Voss held up a hand, silencing the chaos. His eyes met mine. A flicker of something: recognition? Calculation?
Quinn.
You bring this to me, why? Because Apex deserves better than cover-ups. I held his stare, channeling every ounce of the woman I'd become in the grave. And because I know what happens if we don't. Stock dips. Lawsuits. The whole house of cards. He leaned back, the room hanging on his exhale. Noted. To Elena, you're suspended. Pending full review. CFO out. Legal. Trace every wire from the last 2 years. She bolted up, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Harlan, this is insane. She's lying. But Voss's voice cut through. Steel-edged. Not today. Elena. Not in my house. She stormed out, Mark trailing like a whipped dog. The door slammed, and Voss turned to me, a ghost of a smile cracking his facade. You got balls, Harper. Or a death wish.
Which is it?
Both, I said, pulse thundering. But mostly, I just want what's mine. He nodded. Slow. Like he'd seen this movie before. Stick around after. We talk legacy. As the meeting dissolved into frantic calls, I stepped into the hallway, air electric with fallout. My phone buzzed. Jake. Files sent to Voss's Anon tip line. You're welcome. Another flip. But victory tasted bittersweet. Elena wouldn't go quiet. She'd counterattack. Dig up dirt or fabricate more. And Voss? His interest felt like a double-edged sword, ally or opportunist. Hard to tell in this snake pit. By 5 p.m., the office was a whisper mill. Rumors of raids. Whispers of indictments. I clocked out early. Badge reactivated courtesy of Voss's direct order. And hit the parking garage. My beat-up Civic waited. A relic from leaner days. As I fired it up, headlights caught a figure in the rear view, Elena, leaning against a pillar, phone to her ear, eyes locked on mine. She mouthed one word, war. I revved the engine, peeling out into the dusk-choked freeway. Let it come. I died once. What was a little more hell? The drive home was a gauntlet of Bay Area traffic. Brake lights bleeding red into the twilight like open wounds. My apartment in Oakland, rent-stabilized slice of heaven amid the gentrification wars, loomed at the end of it. A third-floor walk-up with peeling paint and a view of the BART tracks. In my first life, this is where the unraveling accelerated, eviction notices piling up. Nights blurring into vodka hazes. Elena's concerned, check-ins turning into surveillance.
Tonight.
I barricaded the door with a new deadbolt I'd installed on the sly last week, paranoia paying dividends, and cracked open my laptop. The thumb drive from the server room hummed as I uploaded everything to a Tor-hidden server. Triple encrypted. Evidence hoarded like bullets in a bandolier. A knock rattled the frame at 8 p.m.
Sharp.
Not Elena, too timid. I peered through the peephole. Mark, holding a six-pack like a peace offering, his beard unkempt, eyes red-rimmed. Quinn,
Please.
5 minutes. Against my better judgment, or maybe the vengeful itch, I cracked the door. Chain still latched. What? Come to beg forgiveness? Or deliver Elena's next script? He winced, genuine hurt flashing before the mask slipped back. It's over. Voss canned me this afternoon. Said my judgment was compromised. He thrust the beers forward. Truce? For old times? Old times. Sushi dates in the mission. Late-night hacks on open-source projects. Whispers of starting our own firm. Before Elena slithered in, promising him the sun if he'd just nudge me off the ledge. I unchained the door, stepping aside. One beer. Then you're gone. The living room was a mess of takeout boxes and whiteboards scrawled with algorithm sketches, my war room. He cracked 2 IPAs, handing one over with a sigh. She played us both. You know. Said you were unstable, leaking IP to competitors. I bought it because
Shit.
I was scared. Apex was my shot. Scared. I sipped, the bitterness grounding me. You slept with her.
Mark.
While I was busting my ass on that health AI, saving lives she was willing to trade for bonuses. He drained half his bottle. Adam's apple bobbing.
Yeah. And it was the stupidest move of my life.
But Quinn, she's not done. I overheard her on a call before they escorted her out. Something about Plan B and your family. My blood went Arctic.
Family.
Mom in Reno, scraping by on Social Security after Dad's mill closure, little brother in community college, dreaming of Stanford on my promised tuition help. Elena knew the levers because I'd trusted her with the stories over wine nights. What exactly? I gripped the bottle like a shank. Couldn't catch it all. But she mentioned digging into your mom's old records, something about a lawsuit from the 90s. And your bro's loans.
He met my eyes. Pleading.
She's cornered.
Quinn.
Cornered animals bite. I nodded. Mind racing. Plan B. Leverage the personal. In the old timeline, she'd frozen my accounts, tipped off debt collectors, even anonymously reported mom's hoarding to CPS, lies that nearly shattered us. This time, I'd preempt. Get out, I said, not unkindly. And Mark, if you want redemption, feed me intel. Quietly, he left the rest of the pack and vanished into the night. I bolted the door, then dove into damage control. Calls to mom, everything's fine. Just tying up loose ends. Wire transfers to secure bro's tuition, and a deep dive on Elena's family ties. Turns out, her perfect backstory had cracks. Daddy's construction firm bankrupt after a bribery scandal. Her law degree from a diploma mill. Ammo. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of alley shadows and badge beeps. Dawn broke with a Voss email. Breakfast. The Creamery. 7 a.m. Don't be late. The Creamery was old-school diner fare in Menlo Park. Vinyl booths and pie that could bribe a jury. Voss was already there when I arrived, nursing black coffee. The morning sun slanting through grease-streaked windows like interrogation lamps. Harper. He slid a menu over without preamble. Pancakes or waffles? Losers pick eggs. I slid into the booth. Adrenaline buzzing. Waffles. And I'm no loser. His laugh was a bark. Damn right. That stunt yesterday? Ballsy. Stupid. But ballsy. He flagged the waitress, ordering for both. Elena's lawyered up. Claims harassment. Defamation. Board spooked, stocks dipping 2 points on rumor alone. 2 points is a hiccup. I stirred sugar into my coffee. 3 lumps, habit from stress eating calories. But if she walks, the recall blows wide.
Essay.
Class actions. The works. He eyed me over his mug. Calculating. And your angle? You could have gone nuclear, leaked it all. Why me? Because, in the grave, I'd pieced it together. Voss's legacy was smoke. Whispers of his own skeletons. Early Apex funded by gray market data sales. User privacy traded for seed rounds. He needed a cleaner. Someone to torch the trash without burning the house.
Me.
I want in, I said flat. Not just survival. Your chair. Harlan. When you retire. His fork paused midair. Syrup dripping. Ambitious. Reckless. I like it.
He leaned in.
But first, you deliver. Elena's got dirt, real or forged, on half the C-suite. Neutralize it, and we'll talk succession. Deal struck over cooling waffles. As I drove back, phone lit up. Jake's text. E's meeting fixer at Pier 39. 2 p.m. Photos attached. Grainy shots of her with a slick suit, private eye, the kind who dug up DUIs for divorce courts. I rerouted to the city, parking amid the tourist throng. Pier 39 was chaos. Sea lions barking. Kids shrieking over clam chowder. I blended in hoodie and shades, tailing from a fudge shop. Elena and the PI huddled at a railing, wind whipping her bob as she handed over a flash drive. Harper family probe. Lips read easy. My stomach twisted, not for fear, but fury. This wasn't business, it was crucifixion. I snapped pics with my phone's zoom, then slipped closer. Earbud mic picking up fragments. Medical records. Kids juvie scare. Make it stick. Juvie scare? Bro had a shoplifting beef at 16. Expunged and forgotten. Elena, you vindictive cunt. I didn't confront. Not yet. Instead, I ghosted to a nearby bench, firing the shots to Voss's secure line. Plan B in motion. Counter? His reply handled. You focus on the board vote tomorrow. Make it count. The vote, emergency session on Elena's suspension. If it stuck, she'd be radioactive, no golden parachute,
just lawsuits and shame.
If not, Apex imploded. Evening fell heavy as I crashed at home, fortifying with burner accounts and VPNs. A ping from Mark, she's raging. Mentioned hitting your car, watch your back. Sleepless. I paced, the weight of timelines pressing. Death had gifted me foresight, but foresight didn't blunt the blade. What if Voss flipped? What if Elena struck first? Midnight brought the call, unknown number. I answered, heart in throat. Quinn Harper. Male. Gravelly. Not Elena. Who's this? The ghost you buried.
A pause.
Static crackling. Or maybe you're the ghost. Listen, Elena's not the head. She's the hand. Cut it off. You bleed the body.
Click.
Line dead. I stared at the phone. Chills racing. Ghost? Someone from the old life. Or paranoia incarnate. Either way, the game's layers were peeling, and under them slithered something bigger. Tomorrow's vote loomed like a guillotine. I'd swing the axe, but whose neck? Board vote day dawned smoggy. The kind of SoCal spillover that choked the valley's optimism. I suited up, tailored black. Heels that clicked like countdowns and hit the apex lot early, scanning for tampered tires or shadows. Paranoia was my new normal, a sixth sense honed in the alley's echo. The boardroom thrummed with tension when I arrived, Voss holding court like a warlord. 10 suits, graying temples and Rolexes, murmuring over agendas that screamed cover-up. Elena absent, but her specter loomed in the legal briefs stacked like indictments. Quinn. Voss nodded me to the hot seat, front and center. Your TED Talk today. Convince and
TED Talk. Cute.
I stood, Projector humming to life with slides I'd burned the midnight oil on. Apexes, sins laid bare. Not an accusation, but autopsy. Metrics on the recall. User trust eroded 40% post-Berry. Stock projections tanking if exposed. Elena's leadership quantified as liability. Her slush fund a black hole sucking 12% of Q3 profits. The room shifted as data hit, whispers turning to frowns. One VC crossing his arms. This is damning. Harlan. If even half true. It's true. I clicked to the finale, a reconstructed timeline. Elena's emails timestamped against server logs I'd pulled with Raoul's help. And it's fixable. But only if we cauterize now. Suspend her permanently. Launch a clean audit. Transparency rebuilds trust and value. Murmurs peaked. A graybeard piping up. What about blowback? She's connected, lobbyists. That's Senator Uncle. Boss's eyes flicked to me.
Testing.
This was the controversy crux. Elena's web tangled with DC. Her reforms greased by family pull. Exposing her meant Apex's PAC funds drying up, contracts evaporating. Safe play? Let her slide with a slap. Preserve the machine. My decision hung. The room's breath collective. Play nice. I fade back to manager purgatory. Go nuclear? Risk it all on truth's altar. Politically incorrect in a town where disrupt meant monetize the fallout. Screw the uncle. My voice cut sharp. American as apple pie and pitchforks. We're Apex. We build empires. Not excuses. Let the senators squawk. Our tech saves lives. Not lines M with pork. Elena's a parasite. Cut her. Or we all bleed. Gasps rippled, insubordinate. Reckless, but Voss's lip twitched approval. The vote followed, 7-3 for permanent oust. With Voss's tiebreaker. Elation surged, fist pump suppressed as legal scrambled to draft the press release. But victory soured quick. As the room emptied, Voss pulled me aside.
Bold.
Harper. Stupid bold. Elena's already spinning, claims you're the embezzler. Docs forged by a jilted ex. Mark. The ghost call echoed. She's the hand. You believe her? Not yet. He handed over a dossier. Thin folder stamped confidential. But this? Your mom's lawsuit 98. Mill accident. Elena's PI exhumed it, twisting it into instability gene. Your bro's record? Amplified. I flipped pages. Rage boiling. Forged psych evals linking mom's grief to my erratic behavior. This is libel. Is it? Voss's gaze hardened. Or leverage. Do you want my chair? Prove you're clean. Or we both sink. The implication landed like a gut punch. Complicity. Voss knew the gray in Apex's founding. Data sales that skirted laws. User profiles peddled to pharma giants. My push for truth threatened his empire. Ally or puppeteer? Using me to purge rivals while burying his own? I pocketed the folder, storming out to the garage. Phone buzzed, Mom. Quinn? Some reporter called about Dad's old case. What's going on? Damage spreading. I dialed Mark. Voicemail beeping. It's me. Elena's hitting family.
Meet me. Now.
He surfaced at a dive in Sunnyvale an hour later. Dive bar dim and sticky floored. She's unhinged, he muttered over whiskeys. Blames you for everything. Lost job. Reputation. Hired that PI to fabricate a paper trail, your addiction history, fake emails from you to competitors. The pieces slotted. Not just revenge, but erasure. Frame me as the villain, her as victim. The ghost call, I pressed. Know anything? He paled. Ghost?
Shit.
Quinn, that was me. Burner phone. Anonymized. Trying to warn you without. You know. Relief warred with disgust. Why now? Because I loved you. And because Elena's not alone.
Voss.
He's in deeper than you think.
Deeper.
The dossier burned in my pocket.
Spill.
Mark glanced around. Voice dropping. Early days. Apex scraped health data, without consent, sold to insurers for risk models. Voss greenlit it. Elena handled the cleanup, but when the recall hit, she pinned early leaks on you to deflect.
Me?
I'd buried that suspicion in the first life. Too loyal.
Now.
It reeked, the anonymous tip that got me sidelined from the probe. Proof. Server archives. I can pull him if you get me access.
Risky.
Hacking internal? Grounds for jail. Career suicide. But the alternative, let Elena rewrite history. Voss consolidate power, was death revisited. Do it, I said. Tonight. We synced burners. Him tunneling from a coffee shop proxy. By midnight. Files flooded my inbox, Voss's sign-off emails. Elena's deletion logs. The big one, a memo tying the data sales to 3 denied claims, deaths by denial. Buried like the recall. Crescendo built as I forwarded to Voss, your move. Chairman.
Clean house.
Or I do. His reply, boardroom.
Dawn.
Bring fire. Sleep evaded. Alley flashbacks clawing. At 5 a.m. I arrived to a war council. Voss. Legal. 2 feds in off-rack suits, SEC in beds. Faces like stone. You called the dogs. Accusation laced my greeting. Voss shrugged, pouring coffee. Containment. Elena's spilling to feds, trading your head for immunity. Betrayals sting hit fresh. And you? Selling me out? Insurance. He slid a contract over. CEO offer. Post-audit.
Sign.
Lead the purge. Or walk. The controversial call. Take the throne on tainted ground? Apex reformed under me. But Voss's shadows lingering? Or burn it all? Testify. Start clean elsewhere? As feds grilled. Elena was hauled in cuffs. PI flipped. Her empire crumbling. But her eyes met mine through the glass. Pure hate. I signed. Power over purity. Controversial as hell. But survival's gray. Voss clapped my shoulder. Welcome to the top.
Quinn. Now.
About that legacy. The feds nodded approval, deferred prosecution. Apex's cooperation. But as Elena was led away, she spat. You think this ends? The real players watching. Twists whisper.
Who?
The week's post-vote blurred into a frenzy of depositions and pressers. Apex's stock rebounding like a phoenix on steroids. I moved into the C-suite corner office, Elena's old perch. Glass walls scrubbed of her ghost. Morning started with Voss's briefings. Purge the rot. Harper. But keep the roots. Roots. His euphemism for the gray market deals that built the beast. I nodded, playing the protege, while nights were spent in shadows, leaking sanitized files to watchdogs, brokering quiet settlements for recall families. Mom's lawsuit evaporated under legal steamrollers, bro's tuition locked in a trust. Small victories. But the alley's echo lingered. Was this redemption or recursion? Elena pled out mid-trial, misdemeanor obstruction. A plea deal greased by her uncle's pull. No jail. Just disbarment and a non-compete that exiled her to consulting purgatory. I watched her perp walk on CNN. Blonde bob limp. Ring pawned for bail. Satisfaction curdled quick. She'd slipped the noose. Plotting from afar. Mark vanished. New gig in Seattle. Last text a cryptic stay sharp. Voss's not done. The ghost call stopped. But paranoia bloomed. Anonymous emails hinting at deeper cuts. Board members resigning with vague, ethical concerns. Voss pulled the curtain at month's end, summoning me to his penthouse airy, rooftop deck overlooking the bay. City lights winking like conspirators. Scotch flowed. Cuban cigars puffed against the chill wind. You've got it, kid. He clinked glasses, eyes gleaming. The board's yours come January. But legacy? It's not clean. Never was. I exhaled smoke. The burn grounding. The data sales. You greenlit M. He nodded, unashamed. Silicon Valley's built on borrowed time. Privacy's a luxury for East Coast suits. We traded profiles for breakthroughs. Saved more lives than we cost. 3 denied claims said otherwise. And the recall? Elena's cleanup? My blind eye. He leaned on the railing, voice dropping. But you forced it open. Why?
Truth time.
The hook that started it all, the death, the rebirth, bubbled up. But I swallowed it. Because someone has to. Or we all end up in alleys. He chuckled, but it died quick. Spoken like a survivor. But Elena? She wasn't the snake. I was. Twist hit like a badge beep. Voss's dossier wasn't protection, it was bait. He'd fed her the family dirt through back channels, testing my steel. The ghost calls? His proxies? Probing loyalty. Elena was the hand. All right, but he'd wielded the arm, using her purge to consolidate, me as the shiny new face. I stepped back, glass shattering on concrete.
Why?
Succession's a blood sport. His smile was wolfish. You had fire. I needed to forge it. Elena was expendable, ambitious, but sloppy. You're me. 20 years on. Ruthless enough to win. Principled enough to last. Rage and revelation ward. Betrayals echo. But twisted. Not destruction. But distillation. He'd orchestrated my glitch. The badge disable. A simulated firing to spark the fight. Bowel? In his pocket. The server access? Breadcrumb trail. You killed my first life. The words slipped. Unintended. He froze. Cigar ash tumbling. First, timeline cracked open. I spilled at death. Betrayal. Loop. Absurd. But his eyes widened. Not dismissal.
But dawning.
Christ. Reincarnation? Or psychosis from the stress? Call it what you want. I advanced. Wind whipping. But it ends now. I take the chair clean. No shadows. Or I burn this place to code. He studied me. The bay's fog rolling in like judgment.
Deal.
But one condition, stay. Build with me. The valley eats idealists. We thrive in gray. The controversial crux. Forgive the architect. Co-opt the empire? Or torch it? Walk away reborn? Power tempted. Shape Apex into something redemptive. Health AI for all. Not just the insured. But trust? Shattered like that glass. Dawn broke as I chose. Gray it is. But on my terms. Handshake sealed. Voss's grip iron. Welcome to immortality. Quinn. Months later. January gala. Black ties. Champagne toasts. Me at the podium unveiling. Apex 2.0. Transparent audits. Open source ethics pledge. Stock soared 15%. Headlines hailed the Harper Revolution. Voss retired to a yacht. Whispers of his mentorship canonized. Elena faded to footnotes. Her Cayman cash clawed back in settlements. Mark surfaced with congrats. A new startup invite, tempting, but I declined. Ghosts quieted, family thrived. Yet in quiet nights, staring at the bay's black mirror, doubt gnawed. Was this happy end or by tragic truce? Rebirth's gift, second chances, but chains of choice. I'd avenged the alley, claimed the throne, but at what cost to the soul? One hook remained. That anonymous email. Final ping before silence. Not today.
It read. But tomorrow?
I deleted it. Poured scotch. The game evolved. And I was ready.